This is funny, right? I've seen so many people talk about how trash these gloves are. People were actually saying that this is possibly the worst exotic in the history of the 5 years Division 2 has been out. I probably agree with that, but that doesn't mean that there's not a use for them. I personally think that this should not be an exotic talent. This is not good enough to be exotic. Exotic means something that you can't get anywhere else. All right, you could just roll some weapon handling on some gear and receive these results without blind firing. The talent allows for you to, while hip firing, receive a negative 50% recoil bonus, and then while in cover and blind firing, receive also a negative 50% recoil bonus. To be honest, this really does nothing for your weapon in that regard, but I have a solution which could make it better. I'll tell you in a second. But did you know that a while ago, I don't know when, but they buffed blind firing across the board to the point where you could accurately score headshots easily if you just fire within the vicinity of their heads? It's actually kind of broken. So adding a talent that makes your weapon handling even better when doing that just renders them useless. So here's a solution that could make these gloves half decent. Why not just allow the negative 15% recoil accessible simply for having them equipped? I can think of more than a few weapons right now that could greatly benefit from this. The Merciless, for one, hasn't been touched for years. The recoil makes it almost unusable, but the weapon is great. I mean, it has a vertical climb like I've never seen. It's pretty much unusable if you don't have some type of weapon handling on it. So it will definitely work with that. Its talent is very strong, and theoretically, if you had these gloves equipped, you could make a very good viable Merciless build. Weapon handling in general is a nice attribute, but most of the time when trying to decide what attribute you want to roll on your build, weapon handling rarely gets chosen over crit, so these gloves could actually be a nice fit in addition to your crit build. What other weapons could use a nice 50% weapon handling buff? Let me know down below. Or just in general, how would you make these gloves? Would it be weapon handling at all? I didn't want to make this video too long, just thought I should give my 2 cents and a solution to how bad this exotic actually is. Another thing that it will work with is this new Vindicator rifle, in a way that you might not think. Okay, I love that rifle simply because it's an urban MDR variant. It's the urban MDR version of the exotic, and the urban MDR is my favorite rifle. The aesthetics of it, the balance of how you can use it at mid-range and long range effectively. It's just a beautiful weapon, right? But the thing is, it has a scope on it, and some people don't like using scopes. I don't mind them, but if you're engaging enemies mid-range or close range, a scope is pretty much a death sentence in most cases. So this negative 50 recoil reduction will really come in handy. If you're sitting in cover and somebody gets close to you, you could just spam this with deadly accuracy. But my final thoughts for these gloves is that, like I said in the beginning, they're not an exotic talent. I don't know what the devs were thinking making this. I mean, not even LMGs are really that unstable, so it's pretty much useless. You can speculate down below, and the devs have actually been listening to us. They gave system corruption a buff, which it needed because it was kind of subpar with the new enamel kits. But I think you should put some suggestions down below of how you think these exotic gloves should be, what the talent should be changed to. Because honestly, I'm about to tell you the truth. If you're listening to me right now, these gloves are going to be sitting in the stash along with a lot of the other useless talents that are in the game. Don't add to the list of that, please. Change these gloves now while you can, so that they can be used as an awesome exotic. I always love when I see new exotic gloves or gear pieces or whatever, and for something like this to be a waste would be kind of a bummer. So please change it to something else other than this. But that'll do it for this one. Let me know down in the comments below, like I said, what you think this should be. I'll see you in the next one. Be right out.